one day you're gonna have a moment where everything is just gonna click. And it clicked, and I was like, yo, I'm having an aha moment. He was like, the moment you get home, grab your journal and write it all down. Flowing. And then at the end, I counted it. I'm like, yo, I wrote 21 pages. This is wild. I put that game plan in place. Less than 90 days later, I was 6-figure earner in my business.
Regardless of the way you feel, regardless of the frustrations, regardless of the setbacks, the obstacles, if you keep showing up for yourself, eventually something positive is going to come from it. It has to.
The only way you could do that is by becoming a better version of you each and every single day in all areas of your life.
There's no such thing as immediate success. Of course, you know, everybody hits the jackpot every now and then, once in a blue moon, but the majority of people need to understand it's the daily drip.
A couple of my people, they saw that it was creating momentum for me. They're like, yo, I see that you're being successful with this morning routine. Why don't you, wake up in the morning and, start helping us out with our morning routine and do a call for us.
Wait, every morning?
Every morning, still to this day.
Really?
Still to this day.
Okay.
And in this June, it'll be 6 years since I've done them nonstop, never stopped doing them.
Monday through Friday?
Monday through
9
Friday.
a.m.
Rain or shine.
Well, that's amazing. Talk about no days off.
No days off, exactly.
Yeah. I'm Manning Sumner. I've lived my life by one motto: no days off. No days off is never taking a day off on you. It's a commitment to becoming your best self. Get ready to be inspired to do the same. This is the Big Dawgs with Manning Sumner. Bro, you can't look bad. Look at that. Look at that outfit. I knew I was gonna dress underdressed for this. As soon as I got in the car, I was like, Neno's gonna be dressed to a T, and I'm gonna walk in with sweats. So, anyways,
you're still great. The big dog.
You look great. For the audience, Kevin Torres, also known as, am I saying it right? Neno Torres, yes. Or us gringos, Neno.
Yep.
You were born and raised in Washington Heights, New York. Mm-hmm. You studied sports management and minored in business. After playing baseball for over 15 years with dreams shared by you, your family, friends, and even your neighborhood to play professionally, your journey took an unexpected turn in 2016 during your senior year of college. A shoulder injury ended your playing career, placing you at one of the lowest points in your life. With no work experience and struggling to find employment, you searched for your next path in 2017. After asking around about new opportunities, you discovered digital entrepreneurship and decided to take a risk by going all in. Today, you are a world-renowned motivational speaker who has built a community of thousands who come together every Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. to master the true potential of the mind. You host a top 100 U.S. mindset podcast, Mornings with Neno, designed for those seeking knowledge and value to step outside their comfort zones, become motivated, follow their dreams, and become the person they were always meant to be. Sounds familiar? As a digital entrepreneur and educator, your mission is to advise people on how to strategize their ideas to create extravagantly glamorous and fulfilling lives, just as you discovered for yourself. In just a few months, you transformed your income from $2,000 per month to 6 figures, all by realizing that the real keys to success are always within us. By the age of 26, you had already traveled to 7 different countries and delivered speeches to audiences over 10,000 people. You continue to help others think big, achieve quantum leaps, and recognize their true potential. Through your businesses, you funded your dreams, including establishing your own baseball academy in the Dominican Republic, positively impacting thousands, investing, and traveling. One of your quotes, actually 2 of your quotes, I choose to accept only the things that align with me and reject all other things. If you don't sacrifice for what you want becomes the sacrifice.
Yes.
Love it, love it, love it. You explain your upbringing in Washington Heights, New York, as living in the hood. What was the experience for you and your family like, and how do you think that shaped you?
Man, first off, I want to say thank you so much for having me on the podcast, man. I appreciate all the love and appreciation for that. And man, growing up in the hood, it was difficult, but they say if you can grow up in New York, you can go anywhere, right? And that was the beauty of it, because I grew up in a neighborhood where it was very cultured, but there was also a lot of gang activities, drugs being sold. But because I was the baseball player and I was that guy that everybody saw as, hey, this is the future of our, neighborhood, I was always protected. So I was always that kid, like, you can't smoke, you can't join the gang, even though all my friends and everybody around me was a part of that stuff. I was always around it, but I always learned from the street code, loyalty, integrity, give it everything that you have. So those things growing up were the things that really shaped me, because now that I'm in business and now that I was able to take a lot of those principles into business, I realized how important integrity is, how important loyalty is, how important it is to have the right people around you. And those things really shaped me very early on. And I'm grateful for it at the end of the day, because had it not been for me growing up in New York and learning the hustle and the bustle and, you know, the city that never sleeps, the concrete jungle, and, you know, also knowing the streets as well. You know, there's a difference from being street smart and being business smart. There's a difference between that. So being able to put all of that together and now being able to shape myself into the man I am today has put me in positions that I never thought I could get to. But so I'm very, very grateful for going up in the streets.
How long were you living in Washington Heights?
Up until I was 26 years old. I'm 20 now. I mean, I'm 30 now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So most of your life?
Majority of my life. Yeah. I moved to Miami 2020.
Oh, okay. All right.
So I was in New York my whole life, living with my parents my whole life.
What brought you to Miami?
Miami. So my mentor was living here. My mentor, his name is Matt Rosa. And, you know, he would always invite me out to his house, and he lived down in Sunny Isles on the beach. And, you know, being from New York, you know, you grow up and you one day will live, you know, aspire to live that life, you know, live a life where you're living on the beach, you know, you got the Lambo truck parked outside, you know, you got your family, everything is taken care of. So, you know, he will allow me to come over to his house and stay over for a couple of days at a time. And I remember I would tell myself, like, yo, one day I'm gonna live in Miami. One day I'm gonna have a spot on the beach, and, you know, I'm gonna live this life, and I'm gonna be able to, you know, just put myself in a position where I can live out here.
Right.
And it became like a goal of mine. I'm like, yo, Miami's a place for me to be. Like I liked California, I liked, you know, Arizona, but Miami was that place because I love the inspiration, I love the culture. You know, everybody speaks Spanish out here, so I almost feel like everybody's family over here as well. So it was just something that inspired me. And then after a couple of years of me being in the business, I was able to just move out here, and everything ended up working out in my favor right after COVID, actually.
So did you start motivational speaking in New York, and then you kind of transferred it over to Miami?
Yeah, it started at my mom's house, actually. And it started because I had a couple of friends of mine that actually a couple of leaders within my team that reached out to me. That I had started this thing called the morning routine.
Okay.
So I started a morning routine, and I was getting very consistent with it. I was reading every day. I know you have all these books here, and I see that you're into reading. So I started reading every day. I started meditating every day, writing in my journal every day. And a couple of my people, they saw that it was creating momentum for me. So one day I jumped on a call with them, and, you know, just like evaluation, like, hey, what can I do to help you guys out more? They're like, yo, I see that you're being successful with this morning routine. Why don't you, you know, wake up in the morning and, you know, start helping us out with our morning routine and do a call for us? So I'm like, yeah, no problem, bro. We start tomorrow, 9 a.m. And it started as a morning motivation.
Okay.
And then it turned into mornings with Neno, because then we started to share with other people. We're like, because it's more mindset.
Yeah.
It was like, yo, just share with anybody you know that needs a little boost of motivation before they go to work. So it started as just like this morning motivation call where we would just hop on for 45 minutes to an hour, and I would just teach from the things I was learning in books, you know, about discipline, consistency, motivation, and all these things. And next thing you know, man, and they blew up, bro. They blew up. It went from 20, 30, 40, 50 people to thousands and thousands. And at some point during COVID, I had 6,000, 7,000 people on average on a Zoom call jumping on every morning to listen to me talk about, you know, mindset, leadership, the spiritual side of success. And, you know, it blew up very, very big.
And how long was each, like, how long were the calls?
An hour, 9 to 10.
That's a long time to talk, though.
Yeah, I know.
And is it just you straight up talking, or is there any kind of back and forth?
For the most part, it was just me talking. Eventually, I started to add, you know, guests in, and almost like a podcast in a way. Before podcast became big, I would like, yo, me and Manning doing a call together, and we would put like a flyer together, and we would be on the call, and we would go 30 minutes each. So, you know, for the most part, it was about 45 minutes to an hour, and I would just do them every day, Monday through Friday. And still to this day, I do them. They started June 20th, 2019. So this year.
Every morning?
Every morning, still to this day.
Really?
Still to this day.
Okay.
And in this June, it'll be 6 years since I've done them nonstop. Never stopped doing them.
Monday through Friday.
9
Friday. a.m.
Rain or shine.
That's amazing. Talk about no days off.
No days off, exactly. I mean, you know, the weekends, but
but you're probably preparing for the upcoming week.
Exactly.
It's a lot of preparation in that.
It's a lot of preparation, but it forced me to read all the books. You know, over the years,
right.
I've read over 100 books. I've been to so many events. I've listened to hundreds of podcasts and audios because people are expecting me to show up every single day, and every day there's new people on these calls. So, since there's new people on the call, I don't want to get them on the call and be like, oh, this sucked. I want to show up as my best every day. So every day I'm intentionally showing up with different topics, different ideas. And a lot of it, with success, a lot of it is repeated topics in different ways and different delivery.
Of course.
But at the end of the day, I still,
I've been saying the same thing for 15 years.
Exactly.
So trust me,
it's the same thing.
Exactly.
So that's how it started, and it blew up, bro. And then I turned it into a podcast, and then next thing you know, I'm being invited all around the world. And
that's an amazing story.
I've been to like 26 different countries now till today, like traveling and speaking on stages in English and Spanish too, because I'm bilingual. So
right.
It ended up working out for me great, and it just started as a podcast at my mom's house.
Is it on Zoom still?
No, it's actually on YouTube now.
Okay.
It's on YouTube on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and I actually got hired by $1 billion company to do it paid now, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. So you can only watch it for free now, Tuesdays and Thursdays on YouTube and on my Instagram. And then Monday, Wednesday, Friday, you have to be a part of like the private group and stuff like that. Yeah.
Well, that's
it worked out.
Leveling up. Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I did it for free for so many years.
So let's talk about that for a second, because I think a lot of people probably hear your story and it's like, oh, I'm going to start doing this, which, they can.
Of course.
But I want you to kind of take it back to where you just said you did it for free for years. So how many years did you do it for free?
3.5, close to 4 years before, I did it.
And was there ever a moment in those 4 years that you were like, man, I got to make some money? Like, how am I going to keep doing this?
Yeah,
not that you weren't making money, but just, that particular commitment, that's a real
huge commitment,
huge dedication to something that the outside world would say, what are you doing this? You're not getting paid. So talk about that a little bit.
There was something that I learned. They say, my mentor once told me, said, you have to learn to work without getting paid so you can get paid without work in the future. So the way I was looking at it, I was like, yo, this whole time I'm just learning to work without getting paid. I'm going to just serve my purpose, which is to help others achieve their full potential. So, through the years, I just did it. After a while, I was like, man, I need to find ways to make money, because it's cool after a while when you're doing it for free.
Right.
But, a year passed, 2 years passed, 3 years passed, and there's still no real compensation coming from it. But I just trusted God.
What were you doing for work during that period?
My digital entrepreneurship business. I was building my business where I was trading, investing in crypto. And also, I was also helping other people with coaching online and stuff like that.
Right.
So that was kind of like my moneymaker. But all my leads came from my morning calls, because people were jumping on and they're like, Neno, what do you do? I want to learn more about what you got going on. So
there was some fruit from it early on.
There was, because it helped me build my business.
Right.
My digital entrepreneurship business, it helped me build it. Like, a lot of people showed interest, and especially during that time, during like, COVID 2020, around the time where people were like now looking into online based businesses and trading and investing. During that time, a lot of people reached out to me, because that's what I was known for as well. But all the leads were created from the morning calls. So, people say that they join you, not the business.
Right.
So people were naturally just joining me, and they're like, yo, I want to learn how to trade. I want to learn how to invest. I want to learn how to travel and do all these things that you do. So I wouldn't say I didn't get compensated from it, because a lot of people did come into the business, but directly from the calls, there was no real compensation.
It was kind of like a lead generator.
It was like a lead generator, almost, in a way, an indirect lead generator, because I never did it with the intention to create leads, but it naturally created them.
And then there was ever a moment where you're like, man, I just don't know if I'm going to keep doing this if it's for free?
Yeah, there was a time, because, you're almost forced every day. And because you commit to it, everybody's expecting you every single morning, 9 a.m., Monday through Friday, rain or shine. Like, there were times I went to sleep late. I still had to be up at 9 a.m.
Right.
There were times I was going through tough times in business, life, relationships. I still had to be up no matter what, and show up and put a smile on my face. And
I'm sure you were sick some days.
They were sick. There were days that I was on the call drinking, tea and stuff, and I was coughing and I had a fever. But my thing was, I got to show up no matter what, because as a leader, I always believed that as a leader, you have to show up no matter what the circumstances are. So for me, that was that. But then after a while, I just started to realize I had to let it go and leave it to God. And I said, I'm going to let God control this. And if it's meant for me to be compensated for this, then I will be. And literally like 6 months later, company, I don't know. Are you familiar with Bob Proctor?
Is that the Dr. Bob Proctor? Is he a doctor or no?
No, he's not a doctor.
Okay.
But he's
Bob
like a
Proctor.
huge motivational speaker.
Okay,
and
I've never heard.
He partnered with our company and he launched the personal development side within our company. But he passed, God rest his soul. And during that time, they were looking for somebody to fill in his shoes.
Wow.
And because I was the guy that had been doing the calls for 3.5 years, it just all aligned. And it was like, okay, Neno, we want to hire you as our guy
That's
to
where
lead.
Preparation meets opportunity.
Exactly.
It's
so all those years,
Yep.
all those years of free calls and
Exactly.
so on and so forth. Now the company says, hey, we need a mindset guy. I've been the guy that's been omnipresent. You know, I've been everywhere. Consistent. They can trust me.
Yep.
Everybody loves me. You know, I lead by example. They know they can count on me. I'm showing up every single day, Monday through Friday. So they're like, yo, you're our guy. And they made me the founder of the personal development platform for their company. And, you know, it's been up from there and they brought me in. And that's where now the compensation started.
That's amazing, man.
Yeah,
amazing.
bro.
Good for you.
Thank
Good for
you,
you.
man. I appreciate
It's
that.
a great story. And it's also a great lesson for people out there. Like when you start something, there's no such thing as immediate success. Of course, you know, everybody hits the jackpot every now and then, once in a blue moon. But the majority of people need to understand it's the daily drip. It's the consistent effort every single day that compounds and compounds and compounds, regardless of the way you feel, regardless of the frustrations, regardless of the setbacks, the obstacles. If you keep showing up for yourself, eventually something positive is going to come from it. It has to. There's no way it won't. Yep. And it could be 4 years later. But look at that. And really, and the truth is, wouldn't you say those 4 years kind of flew by regardless?
So fast.
Like time goes by fast no matter what you're doing.
So fast.
So
bro.
you might as well be doing something that's planting seeds instead of sitting around waiting on something to happen. Go make it happen. Go make it happen. And that's exactly what you did.
That's exactly what happened, bro.
I heard you say mentor a lot. So give us just a little insight on your mentor and like how he helped you and, you know, be the man that you are.
Yeah. You know, I have many mentors, but I have, you know, one mentor that he took me under his wing. And it's funny how the story goes because it wasn't him generally that picked me as his mentee. It was his wife because funny story was he came over to a presentation once where I was supposed to be presenting. I presented during that presentation and I basically shit the bed. I was so nervous. I'm like, yo, my mentor's in the room. This is the guy I've always wanted to work with. And he watched me present and I did a very terrible job. So a couple of weeks later, I was at an event and I had a good conversation with his wife. And his wife ends up telling him like, hey, you need to put that kid Neno under your wing. He's going to be like the next big thing in this business. I promise you. And he was like, are you sure? Because if you would have saw the way he presented a couple of weeks ago, you wouldn't be saying that shit. Like, no, trust me. He has all the intangibles. You need to put this kid under your wing and start to help him. And that's exactly what he did. He trusted his wife, you know, wife's intuitions and stuff like that. And, you know, he started to help me. He started putting me under his wing. And, you know, he just started teaching me his ways and guiding me through through life and business and just how to establish myself as a leader in business and how to build a successful 6-7 figure, you know, organization within my business. And, you know, he's just been such a help because, you know, you got to find somebody that has already the results that you want and just do what they do. And that's what I did. You know, I found him. He was always somebody that, you know, he grew up in similar neighborhood in New York. You know, he was able to create the success. He has a beautiful family, son of God, everything. So I was like, that's somebody that I can emulate, that I can follow. So naturally, I was like, okay, I'm going to just do what he did. And I just started following his footsteps, saying what he said, doing what he did, acting like he did, and just adding my sauce to it, you know, in my way. And naturally, I started to create the success. And I think mentorship is one of the most important things that anyone in entrepreneurship can do to become successful. I always tell people that's probably one of the first steps that you need to take in entrepreneurship is find somebody that, you know, is a mentor, somebody that you can follow so you can, you know, take the same steps as them and eventually you'll create some of the same results as them.
And also somebody that's done it.
That's done it.
You know, what the thing that stood out to me that you said is you found someone that was doing what you wanted to do and you did what they did.
I did what they did.
Whatever they did, you did. And I find that it's a lot of times in the business that I'm in and the people that I deal with is they are working for someone that has done what they do.
Yep.
And at a high level. And the best thing they can do is listen and apply exactly what you're telling them to do. And eventually, and then here's the cool thing. I love what you said also. Then you put your own flair on it. You put your own personality on it. But you didn't do that until you learned how to do it.
Exactly.
Once you mastered how to do it the way he showed you how to do it, then you started adding your learnings over the years, the things that you knew, your personality, your flair,
my flair,
how you do it, how you dress, all that.
I dress.
You know? But you did it after. You didn't come in saying, "Oh, I know better than him."
No.
You came in and learned first and foremost. And shout out to whoever's calling us. Sorry about that. Yeah, I mean, it's just such a learning lesson because I'm telling you, I've been doing this for a long time, and that's probably one of my pain points as an owner, as a leader, is that it's right there. It's literally, we're right here.
Yeah, I know.
All you have to do is follow and do what we tell you to do. If you're a 22-year-old trainer and you come on our staff, just do what we tell you to do. That's
exactly.
And then all of a sudden you're going to learn, and then you're going to grow, and then you're going to put your flavor on it. But in the beginning, just do what you're told and learn.
So important, bro.
And then in the background, which is I know what you were doing, in the background, in the nights where you're alone, you're reading more books, you're listening more podcasts, you're developing your skills while you're doing what he has you to do, so that you're just getting better and better and better, and then eventually you've got it.
Yeah, because you get celebrated in public for what you do in private.
Oh, I love it.
Mic drop. Yep.
Say it again for the people in the back.
You get celebrated in public for what you do in private. And that's so important.
So
Did you have a mentor like that help you set, in the beginning of your journey?
I had like you said, many. Most of my mentors. I mean, number one was my dad. I think at an early age, he established discipline in my life, and I knew what hard work was by the time I was like 7 years old. I knew what it was, what hard work looked like, what it felt like.
What did he do?
Well, my dad was an investment banker.
Okay.
He also owned a bunch of car washes. He used to wake us up at 5 a.m. and make us go clean the trenches and the car washes and stuff like that. And but then also just how he ran the household. My mom and my dad, make your bed, devotion, had to go to church, faith-based. He used to wake me up at like early in the morning and make me run in front of, he would be driving the car and I'd be running in front of the car,
Wow.
Like he had me in the gym at an early age. He had us doing push-ups and stuff, just very, not militant by any means, but very, very disciplined, very strict. And at the time, of course, you didn't love it. You didn't like it.
It sucks at the time.
It sucks. But if I had to look back on my childhood, I would say that was absolutely the best thing he could have ever done for me.
Ever.
Because it established getting up early. It established working hard. It established no excuses. It established never quitting. That was something too he'd always stress, is like, you do not quit.
No matter what.
It doesn't matter what happens. You do not quit. And I mean, being what we just went through with the pandemic and all that, a lot of people quit. A lot of people just quit. And they quit in a temporary season. You never make a permanent decision in a temporary season, ever.
No, never.
So you just got to keep showing up for yourself. And then coaches, like for me, I mean, it was, had a lot of great coaches under me. So
that's good, man.
Coming from I would say the one thing that you learn in football, like when you play for a team, is you learn so much about life and about leadership and teamwork and how to deal with different personalities, even how to deal with different coaches' personalities. Because every coach is different. Every coach coaches differently, and then they have different personalities. So how are you reacting, or how are you responding to the coach? I'm sure you had to deal with that with baseball as well.
Yeah.
And so you learn, because sometimes you react wrong to the wrong coach, or you react, and my dad always says, in the coaching world, once a coach stops correcting you,
you're in trouble.
You're in trouble. So, but if a coach is on your ass left and right and always correcting you, that means he believes in you.
Yeah.
And that's what I tell people all the time. The people, true friends, true mentors, true leaders are going to hold you accountable.
Yeah.
And they're going to push you, and they're going to put you in positions of discomfort. They're going to challenge you. If you're not challenging your friends to grow, then they're not your friends.
They're not your friends.
You know, if they watch you stay complacent, if they accept who you are and not who you're becoming, then they're not really true friends. They're acquaintances.
Yeah, they're acquaintances.
So, and I think a lot of people, unfortunately, in life have a lot of best friends that are actually holding them back. And, you know, even relationships and all kinds of stuff. So, yeah, but thanks for asking, because it's who I've become is because of the people that have helped me. Yeah, exactly.
The coaches for me has also been a huge thing, because, you know, you started with your parents. My parents were huge coaches of mine as well. They helped me build a lot of that foundation. But then, like you said, my coaches were, you know, my baseball coach, my pitching coach. And then these people become like your second parents in life. And then they're also teaching you foundational things. And I feel like I always tell people, I'm like, I had very good coaches my whole life, starting with my parents and then my pitching coach and then everything that went out. And that's how I was able to, you know, learn the importance of teachability. Because some people are not coachable. They think that they have it all figured out. But my whole life, I've always had somebody tell me, Neno, this is how you do it. This is how you be held accountable, and you're always going to be held accountable for your actions as well. Right. So I've always learned the importance of coachability, and in business and in anything that you do in life, you have to be coachable. And I think that that's something that a lot of individuals miss in life, is that they think that they all have it figured out. They have too much ego, too much pride. They don't like to fail. And when you don't like to fail, you don't like that coaching, it's going to cost you long term for sure.
Or if you don't like conflict.
If you don't
that's
like
another
conflict.
thing too. Like, a lot of people avoid conflict, avoid confrontation.
I love conflict.
And that's where the growth comes from. Have you ever read the book, The Advantage?
No, I haven't.
Oh, you got to read that one. It's really going on company culture, and it talks about like no water cooler talking. You got to meet conflict head on, and you got to talk about the things that are bothering you. You know, otherwise you're not going to figure it out. You're not going to make the relationship better.
It's not.
I love what you said too with man, I just lost it because I went on this conflict thing, but I heard you just say something that I wanted to touch on.
Parents, coaches.
It was the coaches thing, but one thing. So you're a pitcher?
Yeah.
All right. So I know a lot of being a pitcher is so meticulous.
Yes.
And from form and then that repetition. Tell us a little bit about that athlete within you, that now you're using those things, because I have a similar, story with football.
Yeah.
And losing that, because we see ourselves as athletes, and we're competitive and all that, but now we have to channel it in a different way.
In a business.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about that, switch.
So I started playing baseball at 7.
Okay.
That was, and for me in the Dominican culture, for most Dominicans, becoming a professional baseball player is like your way off the island. Like, that's your way, and that's always a dream for almost any Dominican kid you ask around, is become a professional baseball player, buy mom and dad a house, so that was my dream very early on. So I played baseball. I loved it. I started as a shortstop, really, but I didn't have a good bat. I had a decent bat, but I didn't have the best bat. My real power came from my arm.
Okay.
So that's why I ended up turning into a pitcher. And a pitcher has a lot of responsibility, because the game doesn't move without you. If you don't throw a pitch, the game is standstill. Yeah. So as a very early age, I had that leadership installed inside of me. I was the captain of every team that I ever played for. And I love what you said about, how in football, you also learn the power of hard work, learning team culture, communication, and all these things. And it's the same in baseball. In sports, is all really the same characteristics and stuff. And all of that also transferred to business now. And I feel like in business, when you're an athlete and you go from being an athlete into business, it helps you a lot, because you have a lot of those intangibles already installed inside of you. Discipline, being up early, working in teams, camaraderie, being coachable, all those things. So when I was able to take that from baseball and then transfer it over into business, I had a competitive advantage over a lot of people. And then I also grew up watching Kobe Bryant my whole life. So I have the Mamba mentality inside of me. I'll work you. I'm gonna wake up earlier than you. I'm gonna work harder than you. You're in the gym for an hour, fine. I'm gonna do 2 hours. You do 10 push-ups, I'm gonna do 20 push-ups. I was willing to do whatever it took to be the best. Like, I would always be like, I would get anywhere, any team, anywhere. I'd be like, all right, coach, who's the best here? He's the best. Okay, that's the person I'm sticking with. and that's the person I'm gonna watch, and that's the person I'm gonna outwork. And people, you know, sometimes they would get, you know, they would feel some type of way towards me, because it's like, yo, who's this kid coming in here trying to outwork me? And you know, they think that they're the big dog, and I'm like, yo, low key, I'm the big dog here, but I'm gonna show you. I'm not just gonna tell you.
Right.
And I would go into this. I came in with this mindset that I was gonna outwork everybody, and like you were saying earlier, I have that never quit. Like, I'm willing to go on that treadmill, and we're gonna die before I quit, you know. Like, that's the kind of mindset I had going into business, and that's the mindset I had as an athlete, and it really helped me a lot through life. And still today, you know, people realize it all the time. They're like, bro, I don't know anybody that works harder than you in business. And that's like reading all the books and going to all the events and doing all these things and up early and traveling to all these countries and doing all the tours. Like, I'm willing to do whatever it takes, because I've learned, you know, winners never, I mean, what is it? Quitters never win, and winners never quit. Yep, exactly. So it was like one of those things I can never be a quitter. So I'm glad that I had that athlete background, because it translated perfectly into business, and it's helped me blow up my business, and you know, it's helped me become the man that I am today as well.
I love it. It just triggered what I was going to say, is that oftentimes when people are confronted or challenged, they feel some type of way on the inside. It makes them feel like either bad or hurtful or defensive or whatever. And it's okay. And that's where I think people are wrong, because like, if someone corrects me, I feel the same thing. If someone challenges me, I feel the same way. But it's my reaction and my response that's different. Yeah. I don't take it personal. I don't like get all offended. I actually think to myself, is that true?
Yeah.
Because if it is, then they're right. So why am I being defended? Why am I being defensive if they're actually saying something that's true? Yeah. You know? And I think that self-awareness is something that
so important. I was
truly
about to say that.
We lack. Like, people lack. I mean, I feel like I've gotten a lot better. I think my younger self probably wasn't very self-aware, but as I've grown older, self-awareness has become like huge in my life. So important. Because you realize, like, if you're not self-aware, then you're not going to be able to help people around you, because you're kind of living in your own bubble, and it's kind of a selfish way to live. So I believe that self-awareness is something that people should really like try to hone into. Have you read the book Surrounded by Idiots?
No, I haven't.
It's another good one.
I gotta write these books. I
got a bunch of books. Yeah, I'm sure we could trade a bunch of books.
Have you read Emotional Intelligence 2.0?
Yes.
That's a good one.
That's a good one. I couldn't get into there's other series of them, right?
Yeah, there is. I haven't gotten into
that. And I haven't gotten into the other ones. I got into that one was good.
That one was good. Yeah. And that's where I learned the power, going back to what you said, reacting versus responding. And in the book it says, when you react, it's emotional, but when you respond, you think, you know, and in the book it says, you know, every time you react, you lose, you know, and that's what happens with most people when they're faced with confrontation is they react. They feel your first,
like, anytime somebody challenges, your first thing is to fight fire with fire.
Exactly.
But what I've learned, and I used to be that way all the time.
Me too.
You know, because we're alphas and we're challenging and like, oh, you want to go? Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
You know? But I think that as you get older, as you learn, and as you start to apply things that the emotional intelligence book is saying, is that you got to listen first, like, think about it, and then respond. You know, so yeah, that's
big in business and mentorship and everything.
Life,
relationships, huge in relationships,
huge as well. With your girl.
Huge with the girls, dog.
It helps you out, not, you know, get kicked out of the bed. So.
Exactly. Yeah, no, that's big. I love the response, because when you start to respond, you start to realize, like, they were right most of the time. A lot of the time when you get checked is because, you know, you were doing something wrong. And in my mentorship relationships, I've had to teach my mentees that, but I've also have gotten caught. Like, for example, yesterday, my mentor was checking me on something that I did wrong. And I recognize, I'm like, yo, Neno, you're not being coachable right now. You're trying to fight the battle that he's giving you as well. And I was like, you know what, let me take it back. And I just started to receive it. And he was right. He was right. You did it wrong. You wasn't supposed to do that. You weren't supposed to say this. And then I started to take it in, and I took accountability for it. I said, no, you know what, coach? You're right. I should have done this. I should have done that. And it was a moment of, I almost caught myself reacting, and then I had to bring myself back, and I was like, okay, Neno, we got to respond to this, you know, because it's going to happen at all times of your life, you know, and it's something that's needed. And it's important to the learning process as well, because if not, you're not going to ever be able to receive the mentorship or the guidance that's given to you, because your ego and pride get in the way.
Yeah. And also the ego and emotion cause you to, like, you're saying stuff that you haven't even thought through yet.
Yeah,
you're just spitting stuff out. And sometimes whoever's challenging you, there might be a context that the reason why you said what you said or did what you did that they don't know. But if you fight it with emotion, you probably forget your context of why you said whatever you did or did whatever you did. So by thinking about it, calming down, responding later or whatever, then maybe you can put your perspective on it that makes sense, So
yeah.
What does the number 21 mean to you?
Oh man, it signifies the beginning of a journey for me. Okay. When I was a freshman in college, I got cut from the varsity team. I didn't make the cut. I tried out as a baseball. I tried out as a second baseman. I got cut probably after like the fourth tryout. It takes like 7 or 8 tryouts, right. I remember. But we had really, really good infield already at my school, and both of them were draft picks. They were going to the draft. So in reality, even if I made it, I was gonna ride the bench.
Right.
And I got cut, but there was this guy on the team that he would see me, and it goes back to the hard work. Every day I would go run after school. So I would run, and he would see me every day. And one time he was on the team, he was on the baseball team, and one time he stopped me. He was like, yo, I see you running every day. Like, yo, you should come practice with me. And he was one of the pitchers on the team, and his number was 21.
Okay.
So he ends up practicing with me, and then he ends up introducing me to who eventually became my pitching coach and a mentor of mine for life now. Still to this day, we talk, and he's like, yo, I really want to help you. Like, out of all these other players, in junior varsity, you're the one that wants it the most. I see you in practice every day. I see you running around the school every day. Like, you want this. Like, you qualify as somebody that wants this, and you kind of fit into, like, we were known as the George Washington Trojans. You fit the Trojan mentality, bleed black and orange. That was our colors.
Okay.
And he started practicing with me first before he took me to the pitching coach, and then he took me to the pitching coach. And he said, next year when you make the team, you're the only person allowed to wear number 21. So he kind of like blessed me with his number. Yeah. And then from there, I started wearing the number 21, and it kind of signified the beginning of a beautiful journey. But it felt so amazing because it was passed down by one of the best pitchers that the school had ever seen. And the fact that he was able to recognize me for my hard work that, nobody was really seeing. I thought nobody was watching that, and he saw it. He recognized
Someone's always watching.
Someone's always watching. That's what they say. You never know who's watching.
Exactly.
And he signified, he signaled me out. He was like, yo, next year when you make the team, I didn't even know I was going to make the team. And at the time I was trying out as a second baseman.
Okay.
And then eventually I got turned into a pitcher, and then he was like, yo, you're going to be the one that wears number 21. And I ended up wearing 21, and my whole life changed from there, because then I became a pitcher that year, because they were like, yo, if you want to make the team as a second baseman, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
They were like, if you want to make the team, you're going to have to become a pitcher, because I had a good arm. So that whole year I ended up working out as a pitcher, and then I made the team. I wore number 21 in my first year. I went like 10-1. I won 10 games. I became like the best guy. And the next year we won a championship, and I became like the big guy there, All-American. And my whole life changed from there. I got offers to schools and started going on travel ball teams all around the world and playing at the biggest places. But it started with that one moment, because had it not been for those runs that I was doing around the school, him recognizing me, him giving me his number, and it almost felt like a responsibility. Like, yo, here, right. I'm passing you the torch. You're the next one up, So I felt the responsibility, and I took it head on, and it started everything from there. So that's like it represents like the beginning of my journey for me in baseball, and everything changed from right there, bro. Everything, because then I met my mentor in baseball, his name is Rafael Espinal, and he took me under his wing, and he started teaching me everything and the mindset. And
that's the pitching coach.
The pitching coach, yeah. And he taught me the mindset and everything.
What year is this?
2009, 2010. Okay. Right. I made the team. I got cut 2009, so I made the team 2010. So this is 2010.
Wow.
15 years ago.
And it's Primetown's number, so.
Yeah, exactly. Dion, yeah. So 21.
Athletes, so.
I love Dion too,
exactly.
Man. I hope I don't know what's going to happen with him, but I just saw that he got an offer to get a thing with the Cowboys as well.
He did?
Yeah, so who knows?
That would be crazy.
That would be crazy. Because he played for them.
I know.
So that would be sick. Wow. But yeah, so 2-1 that's my number too, man. Okay. And it's funny because me and my little brother, we were talking about it this morning. Then my little brother made the team when I was a senior. He made it as a freshman. And then after I left, I passed the number on to him. So he wore 21 his 3 years that he was there. And then now my godson, he had a son, and he's my godson, my nephew. He was born on 2/1, February 1st. And we were talking about that. We were like, yo, isn't that crazy how wild it is that, 21 plays such a significant, thing in our life, our whole life. And now Wiley, who's my godson, is born on 2/1, February 1st. Yeah. And it was just beautiful. So
now he has to be a pitcher and wear number 21.
Exactly. and look at how life works. So some of my biggest moments in life have happened on the 21st of a month.
Really?
My biggest moments in life have happened on the 21st of certain months. So that number kind of follows me. And I know that it signifies that I'm in the right place at the right time. In a crazy way, I know it might sound wild, but that number, it follows me everywhere, the number 21.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love numbers too. I'm all about that. I named my son 7. And so I that was very interesting and great. I love that. Great story.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
So tell us, well, first of all, give us like a quick summary of the 4 agreements, and then tell me that moment, that aha moment you had after reading the 4 agreements.
So the 4 agreements, my favorite book. I'll tell you what the 4 are. The first one is be impeccable with your word. The second one is don't take anything personal. The third is don't make assumptions. And the fourth is always do your best. So I'm reading this book and I'm on the 3rd chapter. I go to the beach. At the time I was with my girlfriend out in California, in Laguna Beach to be exact. And I'm a big routine guy, in sports we learn routine. Right. So I'm a huge routine guy. So everything I did was I would always meditate for 10 minutes, read for 30, journal after. So that was like my little 1-hour routine that I did every day, no matter what. So at the time I told her, hey, can we go to the beach? Because I'm a big beach guy. I love being on the beach, meditating to the water, cleanse, it's just super level, next level. So I'm reading this book and I'm reading chapter 3 at the time, which is don't make assumptions. And I'm reading the book and I'm listening to, I'm reading everything that it's saying about the assumptions that we make in life and how we need to act instead of assume. And what ends up happening is I'm reading this book and I start to think about my business. And I'm like, I'm making a lot of assumptions within my business. I'm assuming that people are making money. I'm assuming that people are being, led correctly and all these different things when in the business. And I'm like, I'm just assuming. I'm not making sure. I got to make sure that people are actually doing this. I can't just assume that it's going the right way. I got to make sure. And out of nowhere, I'm sitting there and I'm just on the ride home and I have like this aha moment. It was like this crazy moment. I can't even explain it to you because it's like a door opened in my mind and all the answers that I've been looking for business, they were just pouring into me like a river. Here, you need to do this. You need to set this up. You got to put this chat together. You got to put these people together. Boom, 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 set it all up. And I called my mentor at the time, one of my other mentors, and I'm like, I'm having one of those aha moments you talked about. He always talked about that. Like, one day you're going to have a moment where everything is just going to click. And it clicked. And I was like, I'm having an aha moment. He was like, the moment you get home, grab your journal and write it all down. Yep. And I got home and I wrote down, guess how many pages? 21 pages. I wrote down. And it wasn't even planned. I just wrote, flowing. And then at the end, I counted it. I'm like, I wrote 21 pages. This is wild. And then I put that same aha moment. It was almost like a game plan given to me by God. I put that game plan in place. Less than 90 days later, I was 6-figure earner in my business. And I was stuck at like a $2,000 a month, $1,000 a month for a good time. I couldn't get over it. There was something missing there. And then that aha moment was the one that took me to that next level. And I finally went and started earning, over $10,000, $15,000 a month. And it was from one moment to another. But if it wasn't for that aha moment, me realizing that I was just making a lot of assumptions in business, that if I didn't change that, I would have stayed the same. But because of that book, because of the moment and everything, and I feel like it all aligned perfectly, the beach and the peace that I was feeling and the journaling and everything. But that was what happened. And then, bro, everything changed from there. My whole life changed from there after that. And then I started, and what's funny? I also started Mornings with Neno a week after that as well. Wow. So it just all aligned, bro. Yeah.
I was smiling a lot and laughing a little bit, not at the story, just because they'll tell you, I am constantly talking about never assume, never expect. Hold people accountable, check up, over communicate. These are things that make sure. I've never heard it said like that. So you framed it very well. Make sure, because if you assume, then leaky buckets. Always. Stuff gets lost in the cracks.
Always, all the time.
And it's interesting too. It's the reading that leads to these aha moments.
Big
and I think a
breakthroughs.
lot of times we think that every single book we read, we're going to read it and just have like, an epiphany every single time. And it doesn't work like that. And I tell people all the time, sometimes it's one paragraph in one chapter that will speak to you. And that will be your aha moment. And then you can take it and apply it. But that's why you got to keep reading and keep trying to find those aha moments. For me, early on, have you ever read the E-Myth seminar by Michael E. Gerber?
Mm-mm.
So it's based on systems. And I was not running systems in my business. I was just winging it.
Me too.
You know? I mean, you can't wing it in a business.
You can't.
So learning, and then and it was crazy because I listened to the entire book on audiobook on the ARC trainer, and I literally was like drenching in sweat because I didn't want to stop listening to it. And then as soon as I got off, I did the same thing. I was just like typing notes, and then I applied it immediately. And you have to. Like, because first of all, the sense of urgency in doing things as soon as you have the moment is when you can actually put pen to paper and then go execute it. If you give it a second, it's oftentimes I think there's people that talk about when you have dreams, you should actually like get up and write
a dream
it down,
journal,
because you'll forget. You'll forget. And it's really the same thing in life. Like when you have these moments that you need to apply it and you don't do it, then what do? You forget to write the email. You forget to to apply it to your business. You forget to call your coworker. You forget to call your spouse. You forget.
And then you
just
forget
it.
And then that's it.
And then it usually never comes back.
Missed opportunity.
It's a missed opportunity, right?
Yeah, and I love what you said about the system. Not to cut you off, bro.
No, you're fine.
Because I read the book Atomic Habits.
I love that book.
And in the book, he says you rise to the level of your goals, but you fall to the level of your systems.
Yes.
And the story goes, I hit the 6-figure income, and guess what? I lost it 3 months later. Okay. So I get to the 6-figure income and I lose it 3 months later. And what ends up happening is, after I reevaluate everything, the reason why I wasn't able to keep it, because, they say it's not about the level you can get to, it's about the level you can keep. Mm-hmm. The reason why I wasn't able to keep it was because I didn't have systems. Mm. So I lost it, but now I did what you did. I established myself. I was like, okay, now I'm going to do this again, but this time I'm going to have systems in place. Systems for this. And I was able to get it back 6 months later. And after I got it back, now I kept it. So it's funny how life works. I got to where I wanted to, but God gave me a test of it, little taste of it. He took it away. And then I had to find what the problem was. And the biggest problem was I didn't have systems. So it goes back to what you were saying. I figured out the systems. Next thing you know, boom. And I was back at it. So it's beautiful. Systems are so important in business
huge.
And everything.
So on that, tell us a little bit about your business. Like, because obviously you're a motivational speaker, but like, so I'm assuming you have people under you. Is that how it works? So
I'm a network marketer.
Okay.
And in network marketing, the purpose behind network marketing is we are a network of people that we provide a service or a product to the world in a way. Our product is digital education. So we teach people everything that has to do with making money online. So trading in the financial markets, Forex, stocks, crypto. We teach people how to invest. We teach people about e-commerce, building online stores, social media branding, how to travel for a discount, personal development, and also building the network marketing business as well. So for example, somebody like you can come in and you're like, all right, Neno, I want to learn how to trade. You're a customer that wants to learn how to trade. And if you just want to come in and be a trader and learn how to trade, then you can just be that. But if you decide, hey, Neno, I want to be a trader and a business owner, then you could be somebody that now you're like, okay, you're going to start building your own team of people that you're going to, trade with and invest with, and you can also start to earn an income from it. So when I started as I just wanted to learn how to trade. One of my friends that I played baseball with in high school, after baseball was over, he called me. And he was like, yo, I know right now you're not working a job. You're kind of looking for something. Mm-hmm. He had been trading for like close to a year and he was making money. And bro, this is somebody that, we shared clothes. This is my brother. He slept at my house all the time. Yeah. So now I'm looking for a job and I'm signing up and I'm, looking for interviews. I got my bachelor's and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna just go get a job. That's it. Baseball's over. I'm trying to find out what's next in life, but no one's calling me back. you know, and this goes to everybody that goes out and gets degrees. I got nothing against them, but you're not guaranteed a job if you got a degree.
Exactly. Yep.
So I'm out here, and I went to one of the top schools in New York, you know, a private school. It goes by St. John's. I'm not sure if you're familiar with St. John's.
Yeah.
So I went to St. John's. That's a $50,000-$60,000 a year school, very expensive school, and great school in all areas. So I graduate, I have no job, and I'm trying to figure it out. I'm living at my parents' house. I'm 23 years old, bro. You know, my only allowance is what my mom and dad are giving me before they go to work, which is $10 each. And I had $20. I'm a 23-year-old man. So I'm trying to figure out, that's
not going to cut it.
Yeah, I know. And really those $20 was
in New York.
In New York. And that's for me to eat lunch while they were at work. So that was that. So now I'm sitting at home, and my boy, he tells me, yo, Neno, come check out this thing that I'm doing. And he was like, yo, just come check it out. If you don't like it, you don't like it. It is what it is, bro. But I want you to be doing something. You're not doing nothing. And at this time, I'm lost, bro. Completely lost. I feel like a failure. I felt like I failed my mom, my dad, my neighborhood. I was that guy, bro. You know, everybody was counting on me to become the baseball player, retire the family. My whole neighborhood was always like, yo, Neno's our guy. This is the guy that's going to make it. And now I'm on these streets. I'm at home, and it's like, yo, it's over, Neno. Like, the career's done. Like, what are you gonna do now? So I'm trying to figure it all out. And my boy tells me, jump on this call. I hop on it, and he brings me to an event as well. And I'm like, you know what? Let me give this a chance. And for me, it was just like, you know what? Let me try it in the meantime while I find the job. But then I realized as I'm in it, I'm like, yo, I can make the same amount of money that I was going to make playing professional doing this. Like, if I go all in this, I can make the 7 figures. I can make the 8 figures if I dedicate my life to this. And that's what I ended up doing, because I saw people that were just like me, that came from similar backgrounds like me, doing those things already. It goes back to what we were talking about earlier. Find somebody that has what you want.
Right.
So I was like, you know what? I'm going to give this a chance. And I gave it a chance, bro. And I've dedicated my life to it. And then from there was where I got into like the motivational speaking, because you kind of find your way through things and everything happened. But it started as, you know, just me as a digital entrepreneur, network marketer. And I still do it to this day. I love what I do. I'm a professional at it now with what I do. But I build successful teams in over 15 different countries now. I got people all over the world trading and investing. My organization, we call it Alpha X Society. You know, our vision.
Alpha X Society.
X Society. And our vision behind it is, you know, to help people become the best version of themselves and tap into their alpha state in all areas. Mentally, physically, financially, emotionally, spiritually, in all areas. And that's what we strive to do. So we don't just help people trade and invest and make money online. We also help people tap in with themselves physically. You know, we're big on the gym. I mean, I don't know if you know, but the other day we brought like 20 people to the gym, you know.
No, I didn't hear.
Yeah, we had like, it was like 15 of my team members. We brought them to do one of the pit classes.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, so it was awesome. And, you know, I'm always so big on like, yo, let's become the best version of ourselves in all areas. So, you know, that's what I've done. And then from there, kind of a lot of other doors open for me, because I realized that mindset was the most important part of it all. And that's why I kind of became like the mindset.
You've read Mindset.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. No, I had to read that. Yeah.
So I just had my whole staff read that. So
yeah, it's a great book.
It's so good.
So good. Yeah. So that's how it all started for me. And that's like a little bit about my business. And then obviously other doors opened from there, and we was able to take advantage of them. That's
it's amazing. So tell me a little bit about motivational speaking and like your process. You know, you get booked, you have to go speak to 5,000 people. Like, what's the process for you?
Yeah, so for me, I have a lot of friends all over the world, and because I've built so many relationships and a lot of people who have came through my business, for example, my business isn't for everybody. I always tell people, like, you know, trading, investing, all these things, and leadership is not for everybody. So a lot of what happens is a lot of these other people's, I'm a big relationship guy. So I keep my relationships really solid, the people that obviously are good to me and everything. So a lot of these people end up building other businesses. And then what ends up happening is, because of the great relationship that we have and because of the things that I teach and what I was able to teach them, they invite me to like, hey, can you come speak to my sales team? Now they're doing life insurance, they're doing health, they're doing solar, they're doing real estate. You know, I get invited all around the world to just teach people on the power of the mindset. And I also get invited for sales, because I've been really good at sales and just building teams, because, you know, my whole life I've built teams. Even before business, my goal in baseball was to build a strong team so we could go win a championship.
Right.
You know, so my whole life I've been built around that. So nowadays people just invite me all around the world. You can book me on Instagram, you know, different people from all around the world just pick me, and random people. Like the other day I got a phone call from, I don't know if you know YouTube. On YouTube there's this page called Motiversity.
Yeah, I've heard it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really popular page for like motivational videos and stuff. And they gave me a call and they were like, yo, you know, we see what you're doing. We love the content that you post. We're looking, you know, he was looking to recruit other speakers, and now he wants me to do a gig with him. And
awesome.
you know, so I get books from all over the places, and sometimes I get invited to places around the world because my business is international. I get a lot of things, you know, out in Europe as well. So I've been all over Europe, you know, Amsterdam, Spain, Netherlands, Belgium, France, all those places I've do it. And because I speak Spanish as well, it helps me because I go to places like Portugal, Spain, and I'm able to do it in English and Spanish. So it just kind of like worked out for me because especially in those countries, there's not a lot of motivational speakers out there. Over here, we have a lot of them. Over there, there's not a lot of them. So, you know, they look at us as like we are their, you know, Jim Rohn or those people. Yeah. We are those people for them over there. Like we're those big names. So for me, they look at me as one of those individuals that is able to go out there and speak for them. So they and then I'm also young. I can relate with them a lot. I haven't really got there yet. So like I'm in the process of becoming that best version of me. So people just find me and they book me everywhere, bro. And it's been awesome.
And then as far as your like processes for like before you speak, do you have any kind of like process that you use before you speak?
Yeah.
Or you just like do your thing?
No, it depends. Like if, for example, let's say you wanted me to come speak to the employees here at No Days Off or, you know, at Legacy, I would actually like, what do you feel like they need? Or what are the areas that you feel like they're lacking? And so I go based off of what the person needs and what I feel like I can help them out. And I'll add my extra sauce and my extra 2 cents in there. But for the most part, I go based off of what they feel like, you know, their weaknesses are or where they feel like, you know, they've been lacking at. And then I develop a whole training around that. So I'll sit down and I'll create a training that can cover all specific points while also adding what's important to me in there as well and giving like certain references and also adding stories because they say facts tell, but the stories sell. Yeah, so I love telling stories in between. So like I'll give you a fact, but I'm also going to tell you the story, how I related to it, so I can also relate with them as well. So that's key for me as well.
Yeah, being relatable is huge.
It's huge.
Yeah.
Huge. So I love the stories. Stories are big.
What is the P.O.O.R mindset, and how did you change that mindset to take advantage of opportunity in front of you?
P.O.O.R mindset is big. I remember learning it very early on because I was one that had P.O.O.R mindset. When we talk about P.O.O.R, it's not P.O.O.R, you know, in terms of money. It means P.O.O.R, P-O-O-R, means passing over opportunities repeatedly. And in life, you know, we get presented a lot of opportunities, but we pass up on them because, you know, we're too scared or we have fear, we have doubt, we have insecurities. And I was somebody that was like that. I would pass up on a lot of opportunities. For example, people would refer me a book, I wouldn't read it. That's a missed opportunity. People would invite me to an event, I would have missed the opportunity. And in life, you know, you get presented these specific opportunities, and if you don't take advantage of them, then you're passing up on them. And a lot of people in life, you know, they live their lives with the P.O.O.R mindset, always missing opportunities after opportunity. Waking up early is an opportunity for you to start your day correctly. And if you don't do it, that's passing over an opportunity. So I was like, okay, how can I become somebody that, you know, takes advantage of every opportunity that God gives me? So I changed that. I'm like, okay, every opportunity that God gives me, I'm gonna take it. So waking up early was one of the first things I said, yo, I gotta start taking advantage of waking up early. I started waking up earlier. Book recommendations, I started reading them right away. You know, events I had to go to, things I had to do. I would always just start taking advantage, bro. And I can tell you right now, it changed everything for me because I stopped passing up on opportunities. And when I wasn't, because I wasn't passing up on opportunities, now I was taking advantage of all my opportunities, which caused me to learn, meet new people. It helped me grow my awareness, grow my consciousness, and it just elevated me incredibly. But, you know, the P.O.O.R mindset is something that a lot of people need to change in life because it holds them back so much.
And I think most of the time people do not take advantage of opportunity because they put a price on the opportunity. So they say, oh, what am I getting paid? Or what's in it for me?
What's in it for me?
You know?
Yeah.
Instead of just the experience and what may come from it, you know? And there's so many people that just need to act, try, do, you know, like just be active, try,
so important.
Go, do it. Just do it.
Commit first, figure it out later. I live by that.
Yeah, say that again. That's a good one.
Commit first, figure it out later.
Yeah,
that's what I do.
That's my whole life. Like
my whole life.
My whole life has been, I'm gonna try it. And if it works, it works.
And if it doesn't, then you learn.
Then I pivot.
And you learn.
And it's like in business, like everybody asks me all the time, like, how did you learn how to do all this on the spot? Like, as I go.
You failed your way there.
Exactly.
And that's what people don't understand.
Forward. You fail forward.
Exactly. And you have that book here.
Yeah.
I saw it outside. Fail Forward is a great book by John C. Maxwell. Yeah, that's important, man.
The man.
I love Maxwell. I've read a lot of his book for leadership.
Yeah, I mean, he's probably the number one guy as far as faith-oriented guy.
Faith-oriented. And I've also read his books, and I've been to a lot of his events as well.
Yeah.
And I got invited to them, a lot of them, and I could have passed up on them, but I was like, I can't miss an event with Maxwell. I'm going to be there. And even if I had to put it on a credit card, people used to call me crazy because I used to invest a lot of money into like events and stuff like that in books and like, yo, Neno, you're crazy. You're putting yourself in debt for all this stuff. I'm like,
but you were investing in yourself.
I was investing in myself.
And your future.
Like, in my future. And I'm like, yo, I'm going to pay that back one day, bro. Like, I'm not worried about that right now. I'll make the minimum payments on the car. Like, I need to invest into me. Yeah. You know, I'm the most important investment in my life. So I'm going to read the books. Bro, I remember I used to go to events dressed in like jeans. Like if I was in the hood and I'm like, nah, bro, I need to go get some suits. I need to dress like I want to be
dressed. Fake it till you make it.
Fake it till you make it. And I was broke at these events. Yeah. Broke as you could ever imagine, bro. But I was showing up in a nice suit. And now because I'm in a nice suit, bro, I'm getting compliments everywhere. I'm being addressed differently at the events. I'm attracting the right people because now I'm dressed the right way. So I invested into that, and that was something that was super important for me as well. Like I was willing to invest back into myself, but because I believed that I was going to be that person one day. Even though I wasn't there now, I knew that one day I would get there. So I was investing into the person that I was going to be in the future. And you know, God willingly, you know, he allowed me to become that person, and I was able to pay all that back, and it worked out in my favor. But that it goes back into the belief. You have to believe. I'm sure you had to believe that you were going to be able to do all of this. If not, it would have never happened.
Yeah. That inner belief and also I say it like this: if you have faith in your life, like real true faith, then you know you have favor. Mm-hmm. You know, like if you're living truly with faith, then favor comes with that. So you should never worry. Right, yeah, I mean that's my favorite Bible verse. Now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things unseen. You have to always say like jump in the pool, no matter if there's water in there or not. Like you just have to believe that there's water. Just as long as just jump. Yeah. Keep trying. I mean,
and faith will be tested too.
One of
my favorite quotes is, "Your faith has to be tested to see if it could be trusted." You know, and I'm sure your faith has been tested a lot throughout the years to see if it could trust it. Exactly. So now you were trusted, and now look, boom, God blesses you with all these amazing things that you have today, and that's how it works.
So when you're giving your talks, your motivational speeches, like and you're in it, like you know. Like literally, like say 5 minutes in and everybody's staring at you. You got any tips for those moments? Because I know a lot of people struggle with public speaking. You know, like I've heard it all the time, and especially like when you're, you know, a lot of our coaches, they have to speak in front of 40, 50 people. Yeah, and you're doing it in front of thousands. Like, is there any tips?
Yeah,
you give us?
I mean, the number one fear in the world is public speaking. Yeah, so I know it's hard.
Has it always come natural to you? Do you feel like?
No.
Okay.
Funny story before I tell you that.
Yeah.
My first public speaking engagement kind of thing was in college. I took a public speaking course in college, and I had a terrible first experience because the first day of class, we had to do a personal object speech. Basically, you had to go up there and you had to talk about a personal object of yours for 30 seconds. At the time, we had just left practice, so I brought my glove with me.
Okay.
So I go up in class in front of like 30 people, 40 people, and I'm shaking, bro. I'm shaking. My voice is trembling. I'm stuttering, and I have the worst first experience. Like, I felt so embarrassed at the fact that I had just that experience. So I was naturally now, that traumatized me. Like every time I got in front of people, like I was so scared to speak. So like over the years, like I was always scared to put myself in front of people. And then when I joined the business, I realized that the people that were making the most money were the people in front of the room. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, yo, if you want to make money, if you really want to do this business, you're going to have to overcome that fear that you have. And what I started to do when I started to get put in position to speak was I always had to meditate before. I started off meditating. I always had to do a meditation to calm myself down and see myself performing the speech successfully. Okay. Like that's how I started at first. I'm like, okay, Neno, you're gonna do it. And I would visualize myself having a successful speech, and I would catch myself like, yo, and even if you fail, just laugh it off. If you mess up a word, just laugh it off. So going back to the tips, one of the things that I do is whenever you're talking to people, you want to get them to engage. engagement always helps a lot because, for example, hey, if you guys had a great workout today, raise your hand. Or, you know, something that can get the audience to engage always helps because it gets you to slow down a little bit. Sometimes locking in with somebody specifically also helps as well. Like there's times when I'm speaking that I would just look at one person and I'm able to like just forget about everybody else that's looking at me. And I just find this one person that I'm comfortable looking at, and it helps me like calm my nerves down and actually not focus too much on everybody else that's there. Just, it almost makes it feel like it's just one-on-one conversation that you're having with the person while there's still 30, 40,
which
50
takes
people.
you back to your sports too.
Exactly.
Like,
you know,
because when you're pitching in front of thousands of people,
it's just me and the catcher.
All you're focused on is the catcher.
Yeah, exactly. So that helps me a lot. Another tip as well off the top that I could think of. Sometimes I just look into the abyss. Sometimes there could be a lot of people there, but I'm not looking at anybody. I'm just staring into the dark almost in a way. Like I'm looking above your head almost in a way. Like, and
the lights hit you a certain way, and then you can kind of look beyond. I can kind of
look beyond the lights, and I'm just. But nowadays, because eventually you become so confident that you kind of play around with it. You know, you're just so confident up there. You're no longer nervous anymore. So those were tips that I did kind of like when I was coming up and I was learning my way. Now that I'm more confident, I've learned to just kind of flow with it. Also, pausing is very key, letting people receive the message after you say something powerful. Like earlier, I had one of those mic drop moments. Usually I'm on stage, I do that mic drop moment and I'll pause and I'll let everybody take it in like, sheesh, that was powerful. Yeah. You know, and it lets you kind of smart. Yeah. It lets you kind of like regain your breath also as well, and then come back, boom, and then, you know, kind of take it like that. So those are kind of some of the tips that is. Also, another tip is try not to move around too much. Okay. Because my mentor told me, he said a moving message can't be relayed as powerful as if it's a message that stands still. So like a lot of people, when they talk, they move. They're always moving. And you can move, but when you're going to say something powerful, make sure that you're still. Stop. So like I'm saying something, and whenever I want to say something that I want them to really hear, I'm going to stop. Boom. And I'll receive the message, and then I'll go back to moving. I'll move. Boom. And it's almost like a strategy. Yeah. While also adding the engaging in there. Everybody say I if you're with me. I. You know, and so on and so forth. So you got to know how to kind of add.
Good pastors are good at that.
Yeah. They're great at that. You know, they're great. You know, Rich. Of course. Rich is great at it. Yeah. You know, he makes people laugh. He gets people to engage. Yeah. You know, he makes people pray together. All that stuff. Yeah. So you know, he's a great speaker.
No, he's one of the best. He's one of the best. In my opinion, he's one of the best communicators of our generation.
Like, for sure. Yeah. I love Rich. I learned from Rich. I see how he, you know, gets everybody together and how he delivers the message. And you can see it, how he does everything as well, how he gets everybody to laugh. But when he wants to say something powerful, he gets them there. And when he does say something powerful, if you actually realize, he pauses as well. He lets people take it in, and you have that sudden pause and that silence where you're like, sheesh, that was powerful. I needed to hear that, you know?
So speaking of no days off, since you're here and it sounds like you live the ethos for sure. You have a quote on your Instagram post that says, "The greatest thing about tomorrow is I will be better than I am today." Can you tell us the importance of constant daily improvement, which is, you know, no days off, never taking a day off on you. It's a commitment to becoming your best self. Like kind of, you know, in your own words, I mean, I know how I kind of describe it. Like in your own words, how do you describe that daily commitment to constantly becoming a better version of yourself?
I find that, you know, I think that's everybody's purpose, you know, to fully be able to express yourself to the best of your abilities. And the only way you could do that is by becoming a better version of you each and every single day in all areas of your life. And that's something I've committed to. You know, I recently learned that, you know, becoming 1% better every day. And if you do it every day consistently with no days off, you know, you're going to be better than 98% of the world, you know, if you commit to doing it every single day. And I don't want to be average. I mean, it says it right here, you know, the Marcus Aurelius, the object of life is not to be on the side of the majority, but to escape and find yourself in the ranks of the insane. I'm insane.
I love it.
You know, I'm insane. I want to be the best. I want to see how good I can get, how physically fit I can get, how much I can learn, how emotionally intelligent I can become, how strong of a relationship I can build with God. Like, I want to see, I don't just want to stay settled. I don't want to stay the same. And there's no value in staying the same. There's no fulfillment in staying the same. And if the goal in life is to become the best version of yourself so you can glorify God and, you know, be the example for the rest of people, then staying the same is not an option for me. Yep. So no days off for me is so important, and I live by it. And people think I'm crazy for it all the time, but I'm like, bro, you can never take a day off on yourself. Never, ever, ever take a day off on yourself. You every day got to work on becoming better, improving yourself, whether it's reading a book, whether it's listening to a podcast, whether it's meditating, whatever it is that you got to do to become better, it has to be like a main focus. And I've dedicated my life to it, and I live by it now. Like it's a part of my day to day. Like, you know, the same way I brush my teeth every day and shower every day and eat every day is the same way I work on Neno every day. It's a mandatory, you know, non-negotiable for me. And I've dedicated my life to it, and it has helped me out so much. And I've been an example for so many other people, like my little brother. Yeah. You know, now my little brother, he's installed the same mindset into himself, and he's become one of the top financial advisors out in Tampa. You know, and he always gives me a lot of credit. He's like, yo, if it wasn't for my big brother, you know, showing me the importance of waking up early every day and taking no days off on myself, now, you know, my little brother's a freaking savage, you know, and I'm so grateful because I was able to be an example. And now look, it followed him, and now guess what? He's gonna be an example for his son, who's my godson now, and it's gonna be something that's installed inside of us. And you know, now we're being examples for other people that follow us, and all those great things. So that's kind of like why I love the no days off mentality, because if you dedicate to becoming a best version, not only will you be able to, you know, be an example for so many other people, but you'll be able to realize who you can become, and that's the journey in life, to see who you can become.
Boom. Said it better than me. Yo,
what does it mean to you? Because I mean, it says it on the top of the thing.
You know, it's exactly the same thing. I mean, you know, it's actually, you know, I'm just sitting here grinning because, you know, I have a younger brother that is amazing too, and you know,
I love your brother, man. He showed me so much love the other day.
Has bought into what I'm, you know, trying to accomplish, and then now I got a brother from another mother hearing you talk. Just, you know, it's powerful when you meet people with the same mindset, and then I feel like, you know, yeah, we're crazy, we're insane, but I feel like everyone else is crazy and insane to not live this way, to not take advantage of, because every single person has the ability to be doing what we do. Every single person.
And there's no excuses.
There's absolutely no excuse. And, you know, when I hear you talk about, like, I actually get really emotional about it, because life is, and it's gone. And I don't think we live that way, you know? Mm-hmm. Like, we don't live like it could be taken away tomorrow. You know?
That fast.
And we only think that way when someone passes away.
When someone passes.
Or tragedy happens. Or you're in the hospital, and then it's too late. So it's just, you know, it's refreshing. It's refreshing to hear a young man, because I feel like you're a young man gets it. And you got it early on. You've just continued to just keep going and keep improving, and you're living no days off, man. You're living no days off, and I just it's amazing to hear, and I wish nothing but the best for you and your journey, and you're gonna keep impacting and making a difference in this world, and just keep doing what you're doing, man, because it's again just the word refresh. For me, it's just, I kept saying, wow, this is so refreshing to hear someone in your position to just be talking the way you're talking, because that's what success to me is. Success is not the money. It's not the fame. It is literally being the best version of you, because when you do that, you're better for everybody else around you.
And that's the key of life.
That's the key.
Right there. And I love that you live by that too as well, because you would have not been able to create everything that you have today if it wasn't for that no days off mindset.
Right. Not even a chance.
At what age did you develop that? Was that always installed inside of you, or was it something that you developed over the years?
I feel like I'm, you know, it's been with me. Like, I've always felt like a leader. I've always, you know, I was always the lead in the school play. I was always, you know, whether it was in a good way or a bad way, you know, too. Like, you know, I was a little disruptive as a child.
Me too.
I always wanted to do different stuff. Like, I dressed differently. I, you know, was
outcast.
Brave. Yeah, a little bit of, you felt like a little different. All that. I've always felt.
It's funny how you attract who you are in a way. You know, it's actually crazy when you do that.
I've always felt different, but in a good way. You know, like, I don't want to. And that's why that quote I put on the wall is because during the pandemic is when I really felt different, like really different. You know, because I just didn't buy into everything that was being sold to us, and I knew there was something greater on the other side than what we were going through, and I just knew if I just didn't make a permanent decision in a temporary season, you know, you absolutely just keep improving, keep
and
going. You have faith, and too, you know, and that's another thing too. I mean, I couldn't.
And your faith was tested during that time,
of course,
and you had to trust. Let me ask you something, because I wanted to ask you this the day of the holiday party.
Okay.
When you were speaking, phenomenal speech, by the way. You talked about it took 17 years, and nowadays this culture, you know, because there's so much Instagram and people think that success is so fast, and you know, people are flexing Lamborghinis and they think that it can all happen in a year or two and this and all of that. Talk to me a little bit about that 17-year journey, bro, and why people got to play the long game, even for somebody like me, because in reality, I've really been in my journey for 7 years,
right? You
know, so I'm still thinking, when you said it, I'm sitting there, I'm like, I was telling Andre, I'm like, damn, I still got another 10 years to catch up to 17. And at that point, he'll be at 27. But you'll
be so much further in your own way, in your own right.
In my own journey, like, but it's like seeing the long term.
Up, you're growing.
You're growing.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, but talk about that 17-year journey and why it's so important.
Have you read The Infinite Game by Simon Sinek?
Which one is it?
Infinite Game.
No, but I've seen it.
You got to read that one. That'll get you excited.
Yeah.
The Infinite Game is money.
I like that one. I actually like the name of that one.
So The Infinite Game basically talks about how...
I read Leaders Eat Last by Simon Sinek.
Okay. It's an extension. All his books are phenomenal, but it's an extension of that. But or maybe that one's after. Anyways, it's great. Start With Why, I think, is his first one.
Start With Why. Yeah, that's his first one.
But, you know, the thing is that you don't win in life. Like, it's not like you get a championship trophy if you make an accomplishment. You know, now you might win a championship, but then as soon as you win a championship, it's over. Like, it's done. You don't get the trophy next year.
No.
And that's why, like, they asked Tom Brady, you know, what's your favorite Super Bowl? And he said the next one.
Yep.
And everyone thinks he's crazy, you know. And so for me, it's always been, I love the process. I love the chaos. Like, I thrive in chaos. I thrive in challenges and figuring stuff out. And the more that is put on my plate, I love it. Like,
because without it, it's not fun.
Right. It's not fun at all. Like, there's obviously slow seasons, I think, in life in general, where there's not as much stuff going on. And boy, those are tough seasons for me. Yeah. Like, I don't even know what to do with myself. So that's why I'm not a big fan of holidays and vacations and things like that. I love solving problems. And then I think the thing that I love the most is I actually do love people. Like, hate and love, right? You know, you sometimes you can't stand it because you love so hard and you're trying so hard to improve the people under you, and you want to see them become their best self, and you see their potential, not who they are. Like,
and sometimes you want it more than them.
And you're speaking to the potential that you see in them, not who they are. And I'm always speaking to people's potential and not who they are. And oftentimes people are speaking to me of who I was or who I am, and not who I'm becoming or who I am. And so there's a disconnect there. And I think, but it still drives me to this day. And I there's not one hurtful situation or tragedy or obstacle or setback that I would say I didn't want. I wish that didn't happen. Even when I look back on the ones that didn't listen to me or left me or screwed me over or whatever, I still would have been the same person I am today. I still would have challenged them, you know, tried to make them better. I don't look at myself and say, oh, I should have done it differently.
There's no regrets.
You know, there's no regrets. You never regret trying to make people better. If they don't accept it, if they don't want to do it, then it's on them. It's really on them. And actually, I did have a hard time with that earlier, but like now I am so at peace.
You've learned to accept it.
When it comes to people not doing what I tell them to do, or not taking the advice, and again, I'm no, saint myself, or no, perfect guru or something like that, but I do have some years on people, and then I've done some things that I think that if you're under me, then you should listen. So, if you're part of the organization, you should listen and apply, and I promise you'll end up on a better side. I don't know if I answered your question, but it's for me, it's always just been, when you find, if you love what you do, then it's not really work. It is hard work. It is never easy, but it's your purpose, and so that I've also I've really leaned into this whole premise of not operating off your feelings and emotions and circumstances. So I truly believe that, because there are so many days where you don't feel good. You're having there's a circumstance that doesn't fit your routine. There's always shit going on. Always. There's always an excuse.
Always something going on, bro.
Like
it's never going to be perfect.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who you are, where you are, what you're doing. That applies to everybody. Everybody has stuff, that happens. I call it when shit happens, when life happens. When life happens, how do you respond. Not react. So yeah. But yeah.
Yeah, because when I was thinking about it, I was sitting there and I'm listening to your speech, and I thought about your year 1, and then I'm looking at your year 17, and I'm like, sheesh, bro, I could only imagine everything that happened in that in between, that space, year 2, 3, 4.
Well, imagine seeing this year 1 in your head.
I know, man, sheesh.
And then when you see that in your head, and then everyone around you is saying, congratulations, good job, but then you're not where you want to be. This is this much of what I felt like. That's why I always tell my staff, we're just getting started, because when you have a mindset and when you have a vision of you're trying to be bigger than Nike, and then everybody's like, oh, you open up another location, great job. Oh, you did this, great job. And you're like, no. We're working. We're still at this. We're just getting started.
Crazy.
And even sitting here right now in this,
and you're looking at this
beautiful space. Yes, it's beautiful. I love it. And I actually did give myself flowers when it comes to this, but we're still just getting started. We're
you
still
have
not
how many
stopping.
locations?
7 locations.
7 locations.
Nashville will be 8, and then Aventura will be 9, and we're just getting started.
Like we plan on hitting other
I want to go to every major city eventually. If all the boxes are checked, and
of course,
quality over quantity always. I won't compromise what I know. I won't compromise I call them my boxes. So I have boxes that have to be checked. And when it comes to real estate, when it comes to landlord, when it comes to opportunity, when it comes to finances, when it comes to everything, if one box is not checked, then I pass. So I've said no probably hundreds and hundreds of times to adding locations because the boxes weren't checked. And I mean, I get offered spaces all the time. All the time. Like every day I get somebody emailing me, I have the perfect spot for you. And then I go through the process, and then it either works out or it doesn't. And the process for these kind of things is literally, I mean, to give you an idea, I signed the LOI here 3 years ago. And then, it took 3 years to actually get the place open. So, and those are like even Aventura. I mean, we signed Aventura like 2 years ago, and we haven't even broken ground yet. So,
Aventura is going to be a good spot.
Aventura is going to be great. But yeah, you have to learn. And for me, it wasn't even me learning. It was me committing to my vision and not letting other people distract you from what you see for yourself, because it's not about everybody else. I don't care if it's your family. Like, if you have a vision for your life and you know for a fact that that's what you want to do with your life, then you do everything in your power to do it, no matter what, and just stick to the course. Just stay the course. It's not going to be a straight line.
Never.
It's going to be all over the place. You're going to be up and down, and there's going to be so many things that you go through. But that's why I always crack up too with myself, is that if I go back to that time, I was saying the same things I'm saying today, just in a smaller, no AC warehouse, but I was still committed to no days off. I still had the vision. I still knew where I was going. And that's why I get frustrated with people that, even to this day, people talk to the person that opened up the 2,000 square foot no AC warehouse. No. We've been past that for years. And now we're going to a place that you can't see. Only I can see.
Yep.
And, so yeah.
It goes, and then it aligns with also this next question with the name of the brand, Legacy.
Yeah.
what's the legacy that you want to leave behind when it's all said and done? Like when you see this vision, like what's the legacy that you want to leave behind? Like what do you want to be remembered for?
Well, the number one thing is I want my kids to say I was a superhero, like a freaking superhero, not a great dad, like literally a superhero. That's like I want them to look and say he paved the way for me to have the most amazing life, and now I'm going to continue that and do even better. I truly believe that my dad did the best that he could do. His dad did the best that he could do. But it's our job to leave the next generation better than we found them. So it's my job to make sure that 7 is way better than me. Like he starts reading earlier. He starts learning the things that I learned later in life. He starts learning at an early age so that he can be way better than me. Like I wish, that's just... that's what it's about for me. And then also too, just knowing that the world is living no days off. Like if I know that there's someone around the world, even if it's just one person in India or just one person that knows about no days off and is living that mindset and is applying it and becoming a better version of themselves every single day because of a podcast they listened to or a shirt they bought or a can they drank or just something that domino effect occurs, then one of my favorite movies is Pay It Forward. Great movie. And that's when I saw that movie, I was like, I want to do something like that. Like I want to do something that has a impact that on the world. And that's what drives me, is that I don't want to just be the best or make a lot of money or anything. No, I want a worldwide motto, that people can apply to their lives. That's not about money. That's about mindset. That's about a decision, and that's helping people, and that's exactly what you're doing. So it's very relatable.
I love that. I have this quote that I learned from my mentor. He said, "You die twice in this lifetime." So the first time you die is when you physically die and you're buried. He said the second time you die is the last time your name is mentioned. So he says, how long is your name going to be mentioned after you die? Is it going to be something that's just mentioned for a couple days, couple weeks, couple months, or is it something that's going to live forever? And that was something that really stuck with me. I'm like, yo, my name is going to live forever. That's the kind of impact I want to leave, similar to you, my kids, and that somebody watches a podcast, reads my book, reads my journal, something that they know that years from now, years after my time is gone, like I strove to be the best that I could be. Yeah. And I'm encouraging and inspiring with my story and with my success and with everything that we was able to do for people to become the best versions of themselves. So I love that we're on the same mindset when it comes to the legacy of the impact and everything, man. That's awesome, man. I'm proud of you, bro, for real. No one hasn't told you, dog, like, this is amazing what you've done. You're an inspiration for me, and because of people like you, I know I got to keep going. I got to keep showing up. There is no days off. There is no excuses. You got to be the best version of yourself, bro. So I appreciate you being the example for us.
Thank you,
man. That's a lot.
Appreciate you.
Bro, I know you got a lot going on. So how do you balance it all? Work, business, family, being a dad, faith. Like, talk a little bit about how you do that on a larger scale, because you're doing at a high level, CEO, founder of all these amazing brands. How do you find the balance and all of that stuff to keep everybody happy and everything satisfied?
I think one of the main ways I do it, and I'm telling now, if you're a father, I think one of the best things you can do is wake up early.
Wake up early.
Like the earlier the better. So my alarm goes off at 3:50 every morning because I want to make sure that I'm up by 4. And the reason, and is it fun? No. Do I like it? No. I do not like waking up early. Like
4 a.m. is crazy.
It's crazy. I know it's crazy.
I love it.
Actually, like it. Yes, it's crazy. I mean, that's the only that's the only way to say it. Of course, it's crazy, but I'm telling you, the things that I get done from 4 a.m. till 7 a.m., it's priceless. Like, it's priceless, for me, because I'm setting myself up to be a better version of me, to then go be a dad and be a father and be a husband and be a boss and be leader. I hate the word boss, but you know what I'm saying. Be the CEO, be the founder, be all these things that people need me to be. If you are not pouring into your cup and you're trying to lead in an empty cup, you're not gonna last. You're gonna get burned out. You're You're going to get moody. You're going to be, and I always say, like, when you feel good, then you tend to respond instead of react.
That's true.
Like, when we don't feel good is when we react and we snap, and when you're in a bad mood, or you're grumpy, or you're tired, or you didn't get your lift in, you didn't get your run in, you didn't get your cold plunge, you didn't get your sauna. Most of the time, you're not preparing yourself for when life happens, when there's chaos, and there's almost a fire I have to put out every single day, whether it's, you know, an emotional fire with our employees, you know, some kind of HR situation, or whether it's a pipe burst, or whether it's this, you know, this bill wasn't paid, or what. There's always something. There's always something. So I would say the number one thing I do is I make sure that I take care of me first and foremost in the beginning of the day. And I just get that out of the way. So you're a routine guy. I'm a routine guy. It's in our routines that form the responses that we have later. It really is. And so that's, to me, is like my number one thing. And then obviously also whenever I have extra time. So extra time is probably not, whenever I'm available, then I try to make sure that I'm available for my family. So if I have downtime, I'll hit up my wife. Hey, do you want me to pick up Seven from school today? You know, and one of my routines too is I take him to school every day. Okay. I love doing that. So I get my stuff done here, and then I jet back home at 7:30, 7:45, and then I take him to school every day. Because it's just important. It helps my wife, obviously, because we have a newborn too. Of course. And then obviously it's a great, just, you know, you're being bonding present. Time. You're being present with your son, and you know, eventually he'll turn in. He talks a lot, but you know, we're not in that conversation stage yet. But eventually he'll turn into some fun conversations with him, and you know, we do like little dance parties sometimes, or music parties, or whatever now. But I think that's important. So if I don't have meetings, then I'm taking him to jiu-jitsu. You know, I'm just giving my wife breaks when it comes to that. And then when you're home, be intentional. So when you're home, try not, and again, and I say this very loosely because of course my wife will listen to this and be laughing, but do I bring work home? It's almost impossible not to. Not to, yeah. But you're not being disrespectful when it comes to it. So what I mean by that is you're not like blatantly just like for example, if I'm doing something on the phone that has to do with work and my son's like, you know, daddy, I'm not gonna be like get away, you know, or being rude, you know. Not, you still engage, you know, you still act normal. Like there's no reason to act like you know, like work's that important that you can't, because there's nothing more important than your family. Nothing. Yeah. So being intentional with my son, with my wife, with my family is very important to me. Finding those moments, you know, and they can be small. They can be, you know, now with technology, you can FaceTime your kids, you can FaceTime your wife. Like there's so many moments that I think that we can do better at just being intentional. And then obviously getting them here and like, you know, like making sure that they're around you, you know, bringing them to the gym and bringing them to places and trying to let them be a part of everything. Like work for me is life. Like I don't really see like work and life separate. Yeah. You know, I think a lot of people do. Is like they're, you know, they live a certain way during work, and then now I get the weekend off, you know, like for me, like, and really the gym business is Monday through Sunday, so there is no days off, literally. There is no days off. So, you know, when people are like, thank God it's Friday, like I don't really see it like that. I mean, look, we're here. It's Saturday. And most people aren't doing what we're doing. But we're working. This is work. You know, we love it, but it's work. And so again, it's like I don't think there's balance. Like I think it's adding everything to what we're doing, you know?
My mentor would call it rhythm. You gotta just find the rhythm. There is no such thing as balance because, you know, time is always gonna go more in a certain place. The rhythm.
And then again, finding openings in the schedule, and not just finding openings and saying, you know, like, oh, I'm too busy to go home or make a phone call or whatever. So finding that, I think that helps. Yeah. I think you should, whenever you have an opportunity to be available for your family, then be available. Like, don't, oh, it's 9 to 5 and, I can't run home and have lunch or something like that. Just make yourself available. So
that's good. That's a great answer. I have this one for you. This one's going to be good. I know that you talked about a little bit in the beginning about your parents, church, I know you work out with Pastor Rich and all of that. How important has your relationship with God and faith been in your journey? Like, how important that is? Because for me, it's been very important recently. I started tapping in a lot more. I wasn't as tapped in before, but now I've been tapping in a lot, but I realized that I was missing out on a lot. So how important has that been for you, bro? And how has it played a part in your journey?
I don't think it's another thing to go back to, like, where we say, yeah, we're crazy, but I think other people are crazy for not living the way we live. I also think that with spiritual life. Like, I look at people, like, I don't see how people do life without God. Like, I seriously don't see how people do life without prayer, without fasting, without reading the Bible, without church, without tithing, just everything that the church, religion, whatever you want to say. For me, it's the Bible. Like, everything it teaches you, it should be the foundation of everything else. And so for me, without faith, without God, without Jesus, like, there's no way I could do what I do. There's no way. And I have a praying mom, a praying dad, but my mom has been praying for me, for, ever since I was born. And, when you got that praying mom, like, you just know that you have,
you're protected, dog.
A hedge of angels around you. And so it's been a staple. I'm constantly, like, talking to myself and then also God. So I'm constantly having that conversation with myself and God, and, like, having these, literally conversations. I feel crazy sometimes, but that's just a constant. I probably say, thank you, Jesus, thank you, Jesus, thank you, Jesus, probably like thousands of times a day,
That's
like,
so beautiful,
just kind of speaking life to myself in moments when it's hard. Like, life is not easy, and it's doing what we're trying to do we're trying to do big things. We're trying to make a major impact, but we're not trying to do it through our own strength, because we can't. So when you try to do it with your own strength, you're going to fail. So when you have the power of God behind you, and again, it's just a calm sense of knowing that he's got my back, and that knowing I can do things that maybe other people wouldn't be willing to do, because I'm like, what's the worst thing that can happen? Because if he's got my back, then there's no way it can, because it's his decision, like, anyways. So if it does fail, it was meant to be. So it's like, I don't really worry. Like, there's no reason to worry. Now, I'm not saying I don't stress about things and think about things, and sometimes I'm an overthinker and stuff like that.
Yeah,
but
we all are.
But I'm not a worrier. Okay. I never worry, ever. I don't, like, a lot of my business partners are worriers, or they always think worst case scenario. I've never been a worst case scenario guy, ever. I'm always thinking, like, everything's going to work out like way more than it should, because I have God. I have faith. You have
it.
It's like, so I just move differently.
And you said something about your parents, because my parents played a huge part in my journey.
Yeah.
Would you say they played also a huge part in your journey, them being together, having them in your life as well? Because it's played a huge part. But you know what I've also realized, bro, is that a lot of people don't have that support. So how important was it to have them support you and be there for you throughout that journey?
The thing that you said that stands out, I mean, we're blessed. We're so blessed. I mean, the amount of single family homes, it's rampant. Like, so
I realized it more when I got older.
Yeah, when you tell people your parents have been married for 50 something years, like, they're like,
my parents been together close to 40.
They're like, what? Like, what?
That doesn't exist nowadays.
So, right. It doesn't exist. And so having that example and seeing the way your dad treats your mom, the way your mom treats your dad, and even through tough times and the struggle, and then again, like I said, them making us go to church. And, like, when I say making, it was like, when you're a kid, you don't want to go to church.
No, you don't.
So
you're like, no, I don't want to go.
Yeah, exactly.
But you have to go. You got to be there.
Like, I mean, sometimes, because I've been to every denomination possible. I mean, sometimes church was like 3.5 hours long. Like, it was like, you did not want to be there.
Nobody wanted to be there. Yeah.
But now, again, looking back on it,
you're grateful.
It's the best thing that
subconsciously
ever could happen.
you were being programmed.
Right.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Last question, bro, for you. I see that your logo behind Legacy is a dog. I have a dog, bro, and I love my dog. But I have a smaller dog.
All right.
Tell me the story behind the dog as the logo and your dog that you had. Tell me a little bit about that, because I would love to know. Because I know that they say a dog is a man's best friend, and I love my dog so much. So tell me a little bit about the story behind the dog and why you chose it as the logo for your company.
Yeah. So a childhood friend, one of my boys back in the day. His name was Sledge. He had a dog named Killian, and I had to help Killian walk him and feed him sometimes, and it was a pit bull, a red-nosed pit bull, and beautiful, strong. Like, we had a harness, and the way he walked, it was just like all his muscles were just like, and I just fell in love with the breed. Like, fell in love with American Pit Bull Terriers. The way they're goofy. Like, they reminded me of me. So, like, because on the outside, they look like killers.
Killers,
you know,
yeah.
like killers. You know, just big old heads, big old muscles, strong, fast, agility, the whole nine. And then, but on the inside, they are big, baby, goofy, like fun.
Love to be cuddled.
Like, they're like little kids.
Literally.
So just, I love pit bulls. And then it was crazy because we had to put Killian down. He had really bad hip dysplasia, and it just devastated his Sledge. And then he got another dog named Artemis. And when he got Artemis, he was in med school, and he was about to try to be an orthopedic surgeon. And as you know, residencies in med school are brutal. Like, you don't have time for a dog. You're doing 16, 18 hours, sometimes 24 hours, especially as an orthopedic surgeon. So he called me up and was like, yo, can you take Artie? We called her Artie. Artemis is the Greek goddess of hunt. That's where the name came from.
Okay.
He's like, hey, can you take care of Artie while I'm in residency? And I was like, yeah, I got you. And so I took her to Auburn with me. So I'm walking around campus with Pitbull. And then that was another thing I noticed is, like, all the girls, you know, you have like a dog and you look good. Like, you know, it was like a chick magnet. So I was like, oh man, this is the life.
This is awesome.
You know, so I used to take Artie everywhere with me. And then it was crazy because I had her for like 5 or 6 years, and then he was like, yo, okay, can I have my dog? I was like, hell no, you ain't getting this dog back.
You already had an attachment to it.
I was like, sorry, bro. We actually, it actually messed up our relationship a little bit, but yeah, but she was amazing. And then I think the most beautiful story was my mom was horrified of dogs. So she got attacked by 2 German Shepherds when she was pregnant with me.
Wow.
Fell down the stairs and they jumped on her, and like, it was horrifying experience.
Traumatizing.
So when I brought Artemis home from college, my mom locked herself in the room and was like, I'm never coming out until you get rid of that dog. And in 3 days, Artemis was sleeping in the bed with her. And to this day, she's now, you know, fine with dogs because of Artemis. And then Artemis passed away 3 months after I opened my first Legacy. I'm not going to get into why, because I'll break down like a baby. But and then Sledge came back into my life because I called him and I said, yo, I have to have another dog. I mean, it's literally my logo. Like, I have to have another dog. And so he found the same bloodline as Artie, and it's called Red Boy, REDDBOY, and they have like famous mom and dad, True Grit and Pingo Pongo. Like, they raise dogs like horses, you know. And so he found who became Legacy. And I had Monita also at the time. That's another pit bull that I had. She was amazing. She lived.
So the name of then you named the dog Legacy
after the gym, actually. Wow. So and Mo lived till 19. She was amazing. But and then one of my best all-time stories is that when I used to take Artemis to go on walks, when I'd put on my shoes, she would do figure eights in between my legs as I put on my shoes. So she would like literally go figure eights in between my legs. When I got Legacy, he was 10 weeks old, and I put on my shoes, he started doing figure eights in my legs. It was crazy. And then so to go back, I think I went on a tangent about my dogs, but to go back to logo, one of my favorite books is Shoe Dog by Phil Knight. And I knew, because of reading that book, I knew early on that I needed a name, Legacy. I needed a motto, No Days Off. And I needed a badge, a symbol that as soon as people saw it, they said to themselves, No Days Off or Legacy. Like, it was like instantly, that was relationship, you know, the symbol, the badge. And then also you could like wear it with pride, you know? And so that's really where the legacy is my Nike. Just do it is no days off is just do it. And my swoosh is the Pitbull. And it's that's crazy because when I first did it, I mean, like people were like, man, what are you training dogs? Like what they did not understand. They did not understand.
They didn't see the vision.
Didn't like it. A lot of people tried to get me to change it. I was like a lot of like former business partners and former trainers and former people around me try to get me to change the name of my gym, try to get me to change the logo all the time. And I was like, nah, I know this is gonna work. I know what it's supposed to be. And look at us today. So you know what I mean?
That's a beautiful story, bro. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that.
No,
with
of
me.
course. Yeah.
That's fine. Now I understand it even more now. Yeah. Like I get it now.
Yeah. Have you read Shoe Dog?
No, I haven't read Shoe Dog either, man. You gave me all the books that I got to read.
I got some great ones. But thank you.
Thank you. Not for real. Appreciate you. Those are some good answers.
I'm glad you're a part of the family. You know, so.
Yeah, we're gonna start training here too.
Of course.
I'm gonna get one of the guys to train me starting next month. So
definitely.
I'm looking forward to it. I got to get in the best shape ever this year, though.
Let's go.
So I'm looking forward to it, bro. Thank you, bro.
No,
Appreciate you.